We are live for UFC 312 featuring a rematch for the middleweight division title. In the main event, Dricus du Plessis takes on Sean Strickland. But that's not all. In the co-main event, you got a big one for the title, Zhang Weili versus undefeated Tatiana Suarez. And up next, another big one. Justin Tafa takes on Taliesin Teixeira. You're not going to want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the TCMMA Podcast with your host, Chris Cross.
Whoa!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege. Privilege. Privilege.
Welcome to the TCMMA Podcast. It's your boy Chris Cross. Excuse me. Whew. It's been a long night, but we have made it to the big three at UFC 312. And right now, two guys getting introduced into the octagon, Justin Tafa and Taliesin Teixeira. And these are two big boys, right? I mean, these are two big boys entering the octagon, getting introduced. And we took Taliesin Teixeira to get the win here. Just because I mean, really, I haven't been impressed with the Tafa brothers, either one. I mean, Justin Tafa's 7-4, but he's fighting out of Australia, feeling good. But again, you don't want to bring the Brazilians into the party. I say this all the time. So here we go. Both fighters introduced. This fight's getting ready to begin, and we've had a lot of decisions tonight, which is why my voice is waning right now. My voice is beat up. Excuse me. Here we go. Here we go. Give us a finish, baby. Both fighters touch gloves, and man, Teixeira is huge. He looks like he's 7 feet tall. That's because Tafa's so short, and a leg kick already. Justin Tafa versus Taliesin Teixeira. Here, big heavyweight division fight at UFC 312. And Teixeira comes right in and drives Tafa back into the fence. Quickly. Big right. Now a right. Oh, Tafa goes down. This is what I'm telling you. And it's over. 30 seconds. It's over. Taliesin Teixeira finally with a big finish. And that's why we took him, because the Tafa brothers have not looked good. And Tafa doesn't even know what happened. He's like, why are you stopping the fight? I mean, he was clearly finished. He doesn't even know what happened. Taliesin Teixeira, do not bring the Brazilians to the party, okay? Do not bring the Brazilians to the party, because they're going to take it over. And it happens again here. Taliesin Teixeira is going to move to a perfect 8-0 and drops the Australian in Australia. And the Australians are done for the night. They look good in certain fights, but not this one. And we see the replay. Boom. He drives a knee to the body, and bing, the elbow. Yeah, and Tafa goes down and covers up, and that's it. I don't even know what he's arguing about. But, man, what a finish. Heavyweight division. UFC 312. So just like that, man, the first fight is done. At least the first fight in the big three for us. So the watch party is getting off quickly, and that's what we want to see. We want to see some finishes. Now we got 2 title fights coming up. Let's go. Let's go. And now I'm fired up. Thank you. Thank you, Teixeira. All right, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after this quick break, including the prediction for Zhang Weili and the undefeated Tatiana Suarez. Stay tuned. Well, they did it. They officially did it. We talked about this last week. I knew there was a possibility of this happening, but they disrespected Khamzat Chimaev again. And maybe it's for the best, because it only make him hungrier. But Nazaruddin Amavov beat Israel Adesanya last week. So Adesanya was 2 in the middleweight division, Hamza 3, Amavov 5. So he beats Adesanya, and I'm like, okay, you got an aging fighter who's now lost 3 in a row. They're not going to move Amavov up over Hamza Chimaev, right? I mean, it's just not even fathomable. It's not going to happen. Well, yep, they sure did. And guess what everyone's saying? Hamza Chimaev moves over Israel Adesanya. Well, that was obvious. The guy's lost 3 in a row. I don't want to go as far as to say he's finished, but the guy has lost 3 fights in a row. Amavov does not deserve to jump over Hamza Chimaev. I hate to tell you, but Hamza would smash. He would smash Nazaruddin Amavov. Why else is the current champ in Du Plessis saying he wanted to fight Hamza? And he's made it known, like, you want to do it now. You want to fight Hamza now, not later, but right now. Make a statement now. Really, before he gets any better. But they did it. These rankings, it's like, okay, you beat the number 2, you are number 2. And I get that, but it doesn't work that way in college football, which I like, right? I like if you're the number 10 contender and you upset the number 3 contender, you jump way up, but they don't put you at 3. They put you, when Max Holloway beat Gaethje, they didn't put him all the way up at 2. They put him at like 5, 6, or 7. So why does Hamza keep getting disrespected? It's like, and now you got the talks of, well, should it be Amavov or should it be Hamza fighting for the title? Well, I don't know. So now we have a controversy on our hands in a sense that now Dana White has said Hamza is next, but now Amavov is ahead of him. So what's going to happen? Is Dana White going to stay true to his word? I want to believe so, but this is a business. This is a business. And when it comes to a business, it's about making money. Now, to me, you make more money by putting Hamza in the title fight. No questions asked. You saw what he went in there and did against Robert Whittaker, a guy who fought Ikram Aliskerov and just dismantled him. So everyone's going into the Hamza Whittaker fight like, yeah, Hamza's getting beat. That's what all the naysayers were saying, right? Hamza's getting beat. Robert Whittaker's back. And then Hamza goes in there and finishes him in like 2.5 minutes. And not only finished him, you remember how he finished him. It messed Whittaker up after the fact. So, what else does this guy need to do to get the title fight? You see other guys like Khalil Roundtree Jr., just to name one of many. It's like the number 7 contender fighting for the light heavyweight title. Why can't Hamza get his shot? It's like Hamza's got to keep waiting for someone else to come up, and now they jump up, and now do they deserve it? It's like, no, Hamza's done what he's supposed to do to get a title fight. And to me, it don't matter who wins between Du Plessis and Strickland. Strickland's not as big on Hamza for obvious reasons as Du Plessis. Du Plessis says he wants to fight Hamza right now. And you got to give the guy credit because he's not going after someone that he knows he can beat. He's going after a guy that he's like, okay, if I don't fight him now and beat him right now, this guy is going to be trouble in the next 2 to 3 years. He's only going to get better for a while. He's only 30 years old. He's right in the prime middle at his height right now. So face him now before he gets even better over the next 2 to 3 years. By the time he starts falling off, Du Plessis will be long gone. So to protect your house, to protect your title, don't wait a year or two when you know Hamza is more likely to beat you. Fight him right now because he's only getting better. And you got to respect that from Dricus Du Plessis. You got to respect it. He could take the easy way. He could fight Amavov next if he wanted to, but that's not what he wants. And he's clear about that. Let's jump right into the Q&A. This is coming via TikTok. Ryan says, I genuinely think Izzy was trying to pull a Powhatan. How he did Hill. Completely backfired, and man, I would be lying if I wasn't celebrating. I don't think it was a bad stoppage. If you think this was bad, I wonder how you felt about the Cannonier stoppage. Yeah. And listen, I know I was just reacting in the moment. As I look back at it, it's like, okay, I understand why the ref stopped the fight, but it's Adesanya, man. You got to give him some time. Wayne Kong and Bruno Brazil, we didn't get to that one today, but this is a big fight. Jason Odom says, you didn't cover that Bruno is fighting at 10 pounds lighter than the fight weight class of 125. Yeah, so that's always a big deal. When you go down, you might still have some of that strength, but the speed is what's going to be hard to keep up with in terms of Wang Kong, because that's her weight class. So the speed's going to be there for her. Bruna Brazil is going to possibly struggle in that sense, but that usually happens early and then the fighters settle down. So we'll see how that plays out. At Finn Prosser says, pretty good card overall in terms of this past week at UFC Saudi Arabia. No doubt. Yes, it was. And we had to sit through 5 or 6 decisions near the end, but the Adesanya KO was worth it. At Legalish says, laugh out loud, ha ha ha. Comment, even his team knew it. Talking about Israel Adesanya. Izzy was smashed. Super stop. Yes. So people are not holding back. They believe it was a good stoppage. At Bo Jackson said, you said Paige will probably win, but I'm going for Shara. What does that even mean? That means that I'm confused with the pick because I think the fight can go either way. Right? Sometimes that happens. The fight can go either way. Like I'm picking this guy, but I'm not 100% sure. The other guy may, it just comes down to how the fight plays out. And yes, Michael Venom Page got the victory, moving up to the middleweight division. Big win for him. At Ghost Red Bull says, no, he won't. Adesanya won't win. And he was right. It didn't happen. We were wrong for the first time this year. Back to TikTok. Ben says, got a feeling Hamza going to keep that belt for a long time. Yes. Yes, I do believe Hamza keeps the belt for a long time. We just got to sit and wait through all this stuff for it to happen. I mean, it's crazy. Let's get to that fight as soon as possible. Let's make it happen. At Brett Bunk says, I don't think so. MVP is faster, and I don't think the kicks will be effective at that range. Page fights. And you're exactly right. So a lot of people saying Michael Page, a.k.a. Michael Venom Page, is going to win the fight. And people were right. I was wrong on this one. But I was down the middle. I wasn't quite sure. In terms of Bryce Mitchell this past week, I know you guys heard about this. Deuce says he has a history with making remarks that are completely off the wall. This isn't even close to the first, which is crazy because it's probably the worst. He meant what he said, yes. Connor Roush says Bryce said no lies. That's crazy. That's crazy. In terms of Pavlovich versus Rosenstrike, kind of a boring fight, really. Went right into Pavlovich's hands. He said, I got big boy for KO. That didn't happen. In terms of McKinney and Hadzovic, McKinney dominated that fight. McKinney is almost guaranteed a win, which means he will mess around and lose. But oddly enough, he did get the victory, and that's kind of the way things turned out at UFC Saudi Arabia. So a lot of comments coming in to that effect. And, we march forward now. UFC 312 is on the horizon, and I'm glad there's a pay-per-view event this week. Of course, a Super Bowl weekend as well. All right, so as we march forward and we get into the co-main event, this is where things get interesting in a hurry because you got Zhang Weili, the current champ, taking on Tatiana Suarez, and this is going to be a high-level fight where you finally get an undefeated fighter in Suarez coming up to challenge Zhang Weili. And if she can get the win, we have a new superstar in the making. But it's not going to be easy to take down Zhang Weili. So which way will we go in this one? We don't want to give it away. So let's get into it right now. In the women's strawweight division, for the women's strawweight division title, you got champion Zhang Weili coming in at 25-3. You know she's from China, right? Taking on the undefeated 11-0 Tatiana Suarez, fighting out of USA. So China versus USA in this one. Suarez 1 inch taller at 5'5". She's 34. Zhang Weili 35. And we've seen this in the women's divisions, right? The older the fighters get, the prime window for the women seems to be much later than the men. The men are like 27 to 33. The women are like 30 to 36, 37 years old. So they're right in the prime. Suarez, 3-inch reach advantage. She fights left-handed or southpaw. Zhang Weili is a switch stance fighter. Zhang Weili is going to be more active on the feet, 5.7 significant strikes per minute to 4.3 for Suarez. But Suarez lands 2 takedowns on average per round. Zhang Weili gets like 2 every 3 rounds. So she more than doubles up Zhang Weili on the ground. Now, Zhang Weili, not Great takedown defense at just 50%. That could be a problem. But she's winning. She beat Yan Xiaonan by decision, in dominant fashion, 106-43 in significant strikes, 6-3 on the ground against Amanda Lemos, 6 takedowns to none, 163-24 in significant strikes. So it's like the old Zhang Weili is back. You remember she lost back-to-back fights to Rose Namajunas by KO and split decision, but since then she's run off 4 straight victories. Suarez 100% takedown defense. That'll be tested in this fight if Zhang Weili decides to go to the ground. Now Suarez beat Jessica Andrade by submission, beat Montana De La Rosa by submission, Nina Nunes decision. So she's rolling as well. And what you see from Suarez is she just takes the numbers of her opponents and brings them way down. Like Jessica Andrade, she took her down 3 times, held her to 11 significant strikes and over 6.5 minutes of action. So that's going to be the big question mark. Can she slow down Zhang Weili like she does with other opponents? And can she dominate the ground? We saw Zhang Weili had 12 takedowns in the last 2 fights. Suarez has had 9 in the last 3. So, boy, this is a tough one because you got Suarez on the come up. This is a big time levels fight, obviously, because you're fighting for the title. Zhang Weili is rolling right now. And this is a tough one for me. I want to see Tatiana Suarez win. Do I believe she can win? Yes. Zhang Weili is the favorite, but I'm going to take a chance here, man. Something just tells me it's Tatiana Suarez's time. This is going to be a big fight, and she's going to try to dominate the ground. And if she can't do that in the first 2 rounds, right? If she gets beat in the first 2 rounds, even if if it's not a finish, hopefully, she's not going to win this fight. But if she can show in the first 2 rounds that she can dominate the ground in one of those 2, she's going to go on to win 2 of the next 3 rounds to take the title, 48-47, in my opinion, by decision. If she could submit Zhang Weili, that would be even better. I don't believe that's going to happen. You never know. I mean, that would be huge. But Tatiana Suarez, in my opinion, is going to win the belt. And what better to have an American fighter at the top of the women's strawweight division and one that's undefeated at 12-0. That's my opinion. That's what I think happens. And she's got to do it on the ground. She's got to, slow down Zhang Weili with the takedowns and dominate in control to get the win. And I believe she does that here to capture the women's strawweight division title at UFC 312. Yeah, so it just comes down to control. I mean, she's going to have to control Zhang Weili. Easier said than done because Zhang Weili is a striker, has good takedown defense. If she's on the ground, she can defend herself there as well. But Tatiana Suarez is undefeated for a reason, and I expect her to bring it in this fight and walk out with the victory. Just hard to say how. It's hard to see Zhang Weili get submitted, but Tatiana Suarez is that good.
You're watching the TCMMA podcast. And now, back to your host, Chris Cross.
Welcome back. Co-main event up next, and you heard it there, Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. And the big story here is, do we have a big time fighter in the making in Suarez? I mean, we know what Zhang Weili is capable of. I mean, she's got all the accolades, won the belt, lost the belt, won the belt back, and now seems more dominant than ever. And you have a fighter in Tatiana Suarez who's coming in undefeated with all types of ability, and we might see a star in the making tonight. That's just the bottom line. And now we're seeing Zhang Weili walk to the octagon, and she's making a long walk. I mean, she's still inside the building, not even made her way out to the crowd yet. And she looks fitter than ever, meaner than ever. And this is going to be a very tough situation for Tatiana Suarez. Now, she did go in there and get the finish over Jessica Andrade, which is a big name on the resume, but it's not Zhang Weili, right? I mean, it's not Zhang Weili. And if you're going to beat the champ, you better bring it tonight. That's the bottom line. Zhang Weili's been here before. She knows what to do. The environment is nothing to her at this point. and all the nerves are probably riding on Tatiana Suarez. If Zhang Weili can get the victory here, she's basically, if not already, cleared out the division. All the old heads like Rose Namajunas, who's looking good in the division up, Jessica Andrade, right? They're all gone. There's got to be a new fighter that's going to come up and challenge Zhang Weili, probably a name that we really don't know yet. I just feel like if Zhang Weili wins this fight, she's going to be the champ for a while. But we took Tatiana Suarez here. We believe she can get the victory. It's been a heck of a night for us so far. And we won. I mean, we had to draw two fights ago. But other than that, we won like the last 4 or 5 straight fights. So just a great night for us. 2 fights to go. And we need to finish strong. But we definitely need the main event. We'd like to have this. This would be like the cherry on top if Dricus du Plessis. Sneak preview if you haven't been following the channel. We got Dricus winning that fight. But if we can get Tatiana here and Dricus, that would be great. And so we still have 4 division titles switching hands in 2025, which isn't many. It tells you, at least from what I'm looking at coming into this year, a lot of the champions are going to continue holding the belt, right? 70% of them will retain the belt roughly. But this is one of the 4 I got changing hands. And depending on how this fight goes, you could get a rematch too between these 2. Very easily. But we'll have to see how it goes. Is Zhang Weili one of those fighters like an Amanda Nunes, like Shevchenko in the division up, where they have just dominated and ruled for so long, right? We're starting to see the chink in the armor now of Shevchenko, but the bottom line is Zhang Weili is right there on that level, man. She's 25-3, but she's the underdog in this fight. So this is why everybody cannot wait to see what's going to happen right here. I mean, you got 2 high-level fighters, and they're both at the age in the women's divisions where they hit their prime, right? Between 34 and 37. The men are more like 27 to 33, but the women are like 34 to 37. It's 35-year-old versus 34-year-old. And that might change later, but it takes the women a lot longer to get to full stride. For some reason. I don't know why that is. But that's the way it is. So they're both really in the prime window right now. And I'll tell you right now on our channel, this fight, along with Dricus du Plessis, has been trending equally. I mean, equally. That's how big this fight is. This fight is huge. Tatiana fighting out of California. Of course, Zhang Weili fighting out of China. And with the big win earlier tonight by Wong Kong, you now got 3 Chinese women fighters that are really good. If you include those 2 and Yan Zhaonan, forget about it. Let's go Suarez. Let's go Suarez. And new, baby. Let's get it and new tonight. Tough fighter to beat, though. I ain't going to lie. And isn't this amazing that Zhang Weili is the underdog? Only the 2nd time in 12 UFC fights that she's been the underdog. And will we get a finish or a 25-minute epic battle? That's what it comes down to. Ooh, baby. Both fighters are introduced. It's about to tee up. All right, so here we go. Co-main event for the women's strawweight title. You got Zhang Weili versus undefeated Tatiana Suarez at UFC 312. We're with you throughout this entire fight. Both fighters touch gloves and they split apart. And oh my goodness, history is in the making. Do we have a superstar in the making? We already know Zhang Weili's a superstar. Tatiana Suarez is trying to get on that level. That's the bottom line. Comes in at a perfect 11-0. And you're big time when you're undefeated because no one knows what you're capable of just yet. We're about to find out. Both fighters touch gloves, and here we go. Expect fireworks early. Tatiana certainly taller than Zhang Weili, but that's usually the case for Zhang, right? But Zhang Weili is strong and powerful, low to the ground, has the ability to stand and strike or take you down and ground and pound. And if Tatiana can win, we get another American as the champion. Oh, Tatiana goes right in and lands the takedown on Zhang Weili. Oh boy. Oh boy. And right into side control. And this is exactly what we talked about in the prediction, right? She's going to have to land takedowns and just take Zhang Weili's power away from her and out of this fight. We'll see if Tatiana can work here, if she can do something with this. You know, Zhang Weili is going to be tough, but of course it's been a while, but she's been taken down in control before. And this is a big part of Tatiana Suarez's game. And a place that you would think she has a big advantage. Now landing a left. She's going to shove Zhang Weili back. Lands another left. Boy, this is going to be a problem for Zhang Weili if she cannot get off the mat. It could be a long night. I mean, it could be a long night. Tatiana trying to open up now with another left, and she lands it. And this is a very telling first round. Tatiana controlling the ground against the champ. Weili doing a good job right now of keeping the head pinned down, not allowing her to posture up. Tatiana continually widening that base, and she's not going anywhere. Fans booing a little bit. They want to see some action. But the referee should not break this up. I mean, this is what Tatiana wants to do. She's landing just enough to keep it to the ground. Zhang Weili showing no ability to get up. I mean, she's looking at her corner for instructions, but what are they going to do? Nothing. Right back into side control. Solid base, straight control. And Zhang Weili has no answer. Now she lands a knee to the body. Nice. And right now for Tatiana, you got the wide base. It's position over submission. Zhang Weili trying to roll out of this. Now she's stuck in a guillotine. Oh, she got lucky and rolled out of it. Oh, that was close. Tatiana tightened it up again, but she can't get the other arm locked. And Weili works out of it with a minute left. Now she's on top. All right, so it took a while for Zhang Weili, but she answered the call. Tough position now for Tatiana. Zhang Weili gets on top. She's got that Big time ground and pound. But luckily there's only 30 seconds left. So Tatiana's going to be content here to just hold on. No significant strikes from either fighters. 22-21 Wiley. And Wiley looking for the full mount. She can't get it. And Suarez is just going to hold on so she can't posture up here. Wiley working the body. And both fighters really showing the ability on the ground. And it seems like if Zhang Weili can get to top position, she's much better at the ground and pound than Tatiana Suarez. So both fighters got to be going back to the corner feeling good. But if you're Tatiana, you got to be like, I lost that position. And when I did, it was not good at all. So even more so, got to maintain the position at all costs. Or if Weili gets up, fine. But you cannot let Zhang Weili get to the top position. At the end of the round, still no significant strikes at all. So no big strikes, but 32-23 for Weili. Both fighters look good. No major problems right now. Weili walking to the center of the octagon. She's ready. Ref having to shove her back. And here we go. Round 2 is underway. Title is on the line. It could finish at any second, right? The title could switch hands at any second, or it could be retained by Zhang Weili. Again, Zhang Weili proven. Warrior, 25-3, current champ. Suarez has a lot to prove. The American is 11-0. Round 2 is underway. First 20 seconds gone, and finally a leg kick landed by Zhang Weili. Got to believe she's got the advantage on the feet, but she was able to answer on the ground and eventually get out of the position she was in. Took a while. Yep, and Suarez goes right back into a takedown attempt with the head on the hip. Now Weili with her back to the fence, trying to prevent the takedown. It seems like Tatiana's going to get it here, though. She's beginning to lift. Now she's trying to sweep the leg, and she does. But Zhang Weili gets on top, and she's in a full mount. Oh, my goodness. And this is not good. Tatiana's got to roll out of this, or she's going to be in trouble. Boy, and Zhang Weili ended up finding herself on top. She's inches away from getting to a full mount. Tatiana's going to shove her off. Maybe. This is crucial moments here. And Zhang Weili is going to stay on top. Oh, boy. She's really high, though. But the ground and pound is ridiculous. Major advantage when she's on top. Suarez trying to roll out of it. She can't. Now she's pinned up against the fence with Zhang Weili on top. Zhang Weili landing elbows. Now some big lefts coming in. And Tatiana cannot stop it. And if she tries, she's going to lose position. So she doesn't even try to stop it. Now Tatiana back to her feet. Now you got a guillotine attempt here by Zhang Weili. And now her back's to the fence. Tatiana's looking for another takedown. And this is the thing. Regardless of how bad it goes for Tatiana, she's going to continue going for takedowns. I mean, because she's not going to stand and strike with Zhang Weili. We told you this. But right now, Zhang Weili has answered the call. Certainly winning this round. And we're only halfway through. It seems like 10 minutes. It's only 2.5 minutes. Both fighters shove off, and we're back to the center. Here we go. Crowd cheering. This is what they want to see. Oh, a big right by Zhang Weili. Tatiana's got to get this fight to the ground. Any time on the feet is not good. There she goes, very aggressive, right back to the head on the hip. And she gets there. Now Zhang Weili digging the underhooks. Now Zhang Weili stands her up. She's got the underhooks in. That's crucial. And Tatiana seems to be losing this position already. And she's going to continue going for it. Trying to get the takedown. She's way too high. And Zhang Weili starting to figure it out here. And now Zhang Weili gets on top. And she's pounding away with the left. Oh my goodness. Zhang Weili's ground and pound is ridiculous. And Tatiana trying to roll. She can't. Don't give up that back. Yeah, Zhang Weili starting to take over this fight. And the ground and pound continues now. 2 big lefts, a third. Suarez is trying to hold her down now. You can see the clock at 40 seconds. And we're going to finish both rounds with Zhang Weili on top, it appears. So this is a clear win for Zhang Weili. Round 1 was very close, especially because of the control time. We'll have to see how the judges weigh in on that if it comes to that point. But it's either 1-1 or 2-0 here as the final seconds of round 2 tick down. And Zhang Weili has answered the call. And right now, it's not going Tatiana Suarez's way. She needs to land takedowns. She needs to control Zhang Weili. And it's looking like it's getting tougher and tougher for her to do that. So my prediction is quickly going out the window. And in terms of the picks, people criticize you because sometimes, I'll say, I'm not 100% confident, but this is what I think is going to happen. None of us really know, right? I mean, I think Tatiana Suarez is going to be able to control Zhang Weili on the ground, but it hasn't happened. It did in the first round for about 3 minutes, but in both rounds, Zhang Weili finished on top. And Tatiana's really lucky that Zhang Weili lost position because she was in a full mount momentarily and just couldn't hang on. If she gets to the full mount, this fight is over. I mean, I'm just telling you now. And if Tatiana lost the first round, she's got a lot of work to do. Here we go, round 3 underway. Stay tuned, man. We got Dricus, Plessis, and Sean Strickland. I mean, that's why we're here. This fight is big nonetheless, but we're here for Plessis and Strickland. Let's get that fight over, and let's get to the next one. More to come on that in a minute. During the break, you'll see a lot of people weighing in on Hamza, Sean Strickland, Dricus, Azaruddin Mavov. I mean, it's a lot going on in the middleweight division. Israel Adesanya fell last week to Mavov, so he's now jolted up to number 2, leapfrogging Hamza Chimaev. So all types of things going down in the middleweight division. So stay tuned for that fight. That's coming up next. 4:10 left, round 3. Now Tatiana's standing up trying to strike with Zhang Weili, and not that she's abandoning the takedowns, but right now she's stuck in a... Oh, big right by Zhang. Tatiana's in trouble. Oh, baby. Tatiana going in for the takedown. She can't get it. This fight is slipping away. It is slipping away quick. And nobody can take those from Zhang Weili for too long. I mean, forget it. She's on a different level in terms of striking among all women fighters in the strawweight division. Just on a different level. Tatiana going in again, but she can't get it. She's like a step slow now. And all of a sudden, the underdog, Weili, is now up to 6-1 favorites. That ought to tell you how this fight's going. Wei Li pinned up against the fence right now. Tatiana's still trying to get it. I mean, it's not over yet, but she has not shown the ability to control Zhang Wei Li except in the first round. Oh, a big right by Wei Li. Ooh, baby. Tatiana's tough, man, but you can't take too many of those. She's one big right away from going down, in my opinion, but she is tough. Halfway through round 3, halfway through the fight, if it goes a distance. Yeah, she attempts another takedown, but she's getting slow. Wei Li's starting to figure it out. A nice leg kick by Wei Li right there. See, and this is the problem for Suarez we're seeing now. If she can't land the takedowns, she's in trouble. Ooh, and Wei Li slips back to her feet. Big right by Wei Li. I mean, she's in her prime right now. I'd say another 2 years, Tatiana will be in her prime. But Zhang Wei Li is in her prime right now. And what I thought would happen is clearly not happening. I thought Tatiana, again, would be able to control the ground in this fight, but it's just not happening. I mean, Wei Li's done a great job. There it is again. She shoves her off again. And she just continues to shove her off. And a big right-left combination there by Wei Li. Oh. Tatiana, you better be careful. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. She doesn't have any angle to win this fight right now. Wei Li's better on the feet. And Tatiana cannot land takedowns to stop it. But she's hanging in there. Yep, she shoots in again, but she's just too slow. Her legs are slowing down. Takedown for her will be huge here, but only under 40 seconds now left in the round. So Tatiana's stuck here for 5 straight minutes on the feet. And Zhang Wei Li's pulling away 26-2 in head strikes, 33-8 significant strikes as a whole, and 126-36 total strikes. And a lot of that was from the ground and pound in round 2. Wiley comes in big, she misses, but she knows there's 10 seconds left. Tatiana's got the head on the hip, and that's the way the round will end. So right now, Zhang Wei Li is up big, and I'm starting to think that Tatiana Suarez is probably going to need a finish here, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But that's why we have 5 rounds. Wei Li's not even breathing hard. All types of instructions being given to Tatiana Suarez, but she's bent over with her knees on, or with her elbows on her knees. So she's clearly tired. But she's tough. There's no doubt about it. And what's got to be going through her mind? I mean, her main way to win this fight is not been there. And when you're going to win the fight on the ground, you got to do that for 3 or 4 rounds, and it's not easy. And now you're into round 4, and you haven't been able to do it for 1 round at all. I mean, maybe round 1 you could say she had 3 minutes of control. Maybe she won the round. Okay. Not guaranteed, but let's just say she won that round, and she's still down 2-1. She'd have to win the next 2. That's going to be hard to do, standing and striking, not able to land takedowns. Zhang Wei Li also being very patient. I think she knows she's winning this fight with a big right there. And another one. Oh, and Tatiana again with the leg sweep, but guess what? Again, Zhang Wei Li winds up on top, and she's in side control. Trying to get the full mount, but that ground and pound is coming. There it is. 2 lefts. That's officially the first takedown surrendered by Tatiana Suarez. Yep, and Zhang Wei Li's in a position to utilize his left hand as much as she wants to. She's trying to make sure she doesn't lose position. There it is, 2, 3, 4. Tatiana turns ahead. And what an impressive performance for Zhang Wei Li right now. Beating Tatiana Suarez at her own game. And she's got to be ahead in control time. Oh, it's close. Both fighters at 5 minutes. But all 5 minutes for Zhang Wei Li has really been on the ground. I mean, 2 or 3 of the 5 minutes for Suarez has been control against defense. So, I mean, Zhang Wei Li is getting off. Oh, look at this. Arm triangle. Oh, boy, is she underneath? Suarez is in a world of trouble right here. This will be crazy. This will be crazy. Tatiana's still punching with the right, but she's not fighting the hands. She may not be underneath. She's going to try to push it up and off. But Zhang Wei Li is in a good position right now. She's got to get that shoulder underneath the elbow, which right now it isn't. And it looks like she's sliding. And Tatiana's going to continue to push, but Wei Li is strong. Now she resettles. Tatiana stays in it for now. But I don't think Zhang Wei Li may not be done with that attempt. Yes, she is. And now she's going to get back to the ground and pound for the next 2 minutes. I can tell you now. She's starting to get frustrated. Zhang Wei Li wants to open up. Now she lands 2 right elbows and a left. Man, this is rough for Suarez. I mean, Wei Li's just all over her. And this is kind of how the fight began. It was just the opposite. It looked like Suarez is just going to be able to dominate her opponent on the ground, but it's just not that way. And now all of a sudden, it's her opponent who's dominating the ground. Just basically just taking her out of this fight. I mean, it's incredible to see. Zhang Wei Li is so well-rounded, it's ridiculous. I mean, she can take the fight to the ground. She can stand and strike, obviously, really well. And it just, again, there's not an angle for Suarez to get the victory here. Oh, and Zhang Wei Li almost put herself in a bad position. Oh, my goodness. Zhang Wei Li trying to rotate to a side control, and she does. And that's going to free up the right arm. Look out. And she lands 1. Tatiana looks the premier women's fighter in the world. That's the bottom line. The gold standard, if you will. Final minute of this fight, and she's just going to grind it out now. Lands a big left, another one. Oh. And can you imagine being Tatiana Suarez? You climb all the way to the top, and there's just one person in the world that's better than you. Just one. And you can't win the title. And Zhang Wei Li is an absolute ridiculous fighter. There's a tap. Final 10 seconds. And Zhang Wei Li gets up, and she invites Tatiana up. And that's a sportsmanship right there. And no more strikes thrown. Zhang Wei Li and still UFC Women's Strawweight Champion. Unbelievable. Not even close. I mean, it wasn't even close. 251 to 61 in total strikes. 58 to 10. She held Tatiana Suarez at 10 significant strikes, 2 per round. Less than 1 every 2 minutes. 45 to 3 head strikes. Just completely dominant performance here. And you could tell by round 2, especially round 3, if the takedowns weren't there, which it was in round 1, but if the takedowns aren't there, you're not beating Zhang Weili. Oh, look at that. She nearly had to. I mean, she nearly had to finish in round 1. That would have been a shame for Zhang Weili because as the fight goes on, it's clear like she's the best in the world. There's just no questions asked. Any one of them can get beat at any given second. But as this fight plays out, and you see 3 or 4 times Tatiana's in the position for the takedown, but Zhang Weili catches herself at the last second, ends up getting in top position, and is able to hold it for 2, 3, 4 minutes at a time, and just broke her down. And this should be a quick, easy, unanimous decision. I'm curious if it's 49-46 or 50-45. That'll just tell you who won round 1. But after that, it didn't matter. The fighters coming to the center of the octagon. This will be an easy decision, and then we get to the main event. So stay tuned. Here we go. 49-46, 49-46, 49-45. So there was a 10-8 round there. And still. So Zhang Weili lost round 1. All right. But she goes on to win the next 4 rounds to win the fight here and retain the belt at UFC 312. All right, so stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get into the prediction for Dricus du Plessis and Sean Strickland. Highly anticipated fight. One we've all been waiting for. And I'm so excited to get this fight out the way. And I really hope that Khamzat Chimaev is next. But you'll see more on that topic during the break. So let's get there right now. The chat room is on fire. It always is when Khamzat's in the news. I love it. King Terzi says Chimaev is already fighting International Fight Week. He is? Who's he fighting? Dricus coach said it's confirmed. So are you saying he's fighting for the title International Fight Week? That would be great. I didn't hear that yet. I hope that's the case. Amavov is fighting Kyle Barajo. Okay. So now Amavov beats Adesanya, wins 2 fights above his pay grade, and now he's fighting down. See, things don't make any sense sometimes. You would think that Amavov would fight the loser of Strickland and du Plessis, which puts him right in title contention. I don't think a win against Barajo does. Marty Party says Dana White wanted Khamzat in the USA. That's why they did Strickland versus DDP to get it out of the way. Okay. Strickland and Dricus both said they want Chimaev next no matter what. See, I didn't hear Strickland say that. So I like that. Khamzat Boers Chimaev superfan. Khamzat is next. Don't worry, bro. Amavov is just ranked 2 because he beat Izzy. It's not saying he's next. Right, but the discussion is starting. See, the waters are being muddied right now, which is what I knew would happen. And I just hope that Dana White sticks to event middleweight division. This is the rematch. This is how it went down the first time around. If I had to make a prediction for how this is going to go, I'm going to say Sean Strickland's going to win the decision. It's about to get real. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's going to be split. 48-47 Strickland. Oh my God. 48-47 du Plessis. Oh my God. 48-47. Oh my God. Oh my God. And no! Let's go! Let's go! Yes! Yes! Dricus just stole the belt, baby. Dricus just stole the belt. What'd I tell y'all, man? We'll take the 6-6 night with the 2-0 in the main event on the year. Let's go. Wow. Wow. Dricus du Plessis steals the belt with a split decision. And just that drama for those last 5 seconds might have made the whole night worth it. I don't know. But Dricus stole the belt. He's 21-2. And he says, hey, I'm not fighting Hamza. So forget about it. We'll talk about that next week. But for right now, Dricus du Plessis is pumped. He stole the belt. And Sean Strickland has fallen. Despite dominating the stats, Sean Strickland has fallen. South Africa is going crazy right now to have a middleweight champion here at UFC 297. You know, what's crazy is a year later, we're in the same position in the middleweight division. I mean, really, just 1 year later, we get the same. So nothing has changed. This is why, as a Hamza fan, it's so frustrating because we know how good he is and we want him to fight for the title. But we got to get through this fight again. A year later, nothing has changed. So who's going to win this year? It's clear that I was rooting for Plessis last time around. We get the rematch. Now Sean Strickland is hungry. It's not like he lost easily in the numbers he did, but in terms of the decision, it was split. So Sean Strickland is coming in believing he can win this fight. That's the way he sounds when he speaks. But is that what I believe? Let's jump into it right now. In the middleweight division for the middleweight division title, your main event at UFC at 312, you got Dricus du Plessis coming in at 22-2. He's the champ, taking on Sean Strickland in a rematch. Strickland 29-6, battling his way, to get back to a title shot after beating Paulo Costa. Both guys 6'1", du Plessis 30, Strickland 33. Both guys 76-inch reach. Du Plessis is a switch stance fighter. Strickland stands right-handed. Both guys over 6 significant strikes per minute, but it's du Plessis who can land takedowns. He lands like 1 per round. Sean Strickland barely gets 1 every 3 rounds. So du Plessis has an advantage in that department. But let's skip right ahead to the rematch when looking at these two, right? Because the other fights don't really matter. Except du Plessis beat Adesanya to defend the belt. Took the belt from Sean Strickland, and in that fight, Strickland actually led in significant strikes, 173 to 137, right? So why didn't he win? Because he gave up 6 takedowns. But you know how the judges are, right? 6 takedowns, great. But if the other guy leads in significant strikes, it's going to be close. That's why it was a split decision. And it went the way of Dricus du Plessis. So not only is du Plessis going to have to get 6 takedowns again in this fight, he's going to have to try to equalize significant strikes, or he's leaving it in the judges' hands. And I think this fight's going to go much in the same way as the first one. I think Sean Strickland will lead in significant strikes. I think Dricus will lead in takedowns. And then you got to sit through a scary decision, right? You got to sit through a scary decision. And God forbid Sean Strickland wins a title. Are they going to try to set up a rematch? Because you got Khamzat Chimaev waiting in the wings with a dominant win over Robert Whittaker. And people are not happy that he's got to wait. So this fight has big implications on the future, but I still think Dricus du Plessis wins a very close decision. Also, the odds are very close, right? Du Plessis is not even a 2-1 favorite. So they're expecting this fight to be very close, but I still like du Plessis to win barely. Again, with the takedown game, to get the victory and retain the belt. We'll move to 23-2, likely decision win coming here for the middleweight title at UFC 312. And this is the thing about rematches is why would we expect things to be different, right? But in this one, it was so close that for things to be different is not very much needs to happen. It's just Strickland has got to defend the takedowns better. He can win on the feet. He can control Dricus on the feet, but he's got to defend takedowns. And I don't know if he's answered that question, right? If he has the ability to do that. He knows what it is. He knows what the game plan has to be. It's obvious when you look at the numbers in the last fight, but he still has to prove that he can do that. And I'm not so sure that's going to happen. That's why I take Dricus to win the rematch as well.
You're watching the TCMMA podcast. And now, back to your host, Chris Cross.
Welcome back to the TCMMA podcast. I'm your host, Chris Cross, and we made it, man. We have made it. This is the main event for the middleweight title, and it's looking tougher and tougher this year for the contenders. So we're starting out the year. I don't remember if there was 2 title fights in the first pay-per-view event, but guess what? No champion has fallen just yet. You got Dricus du Plessis making his walk to the octagon as we speak, and the crowd is obviously pumped up for this one. And you've seen all the videos when he beat Sean Strickland. South Africa went wild, and they're ready to go wild again. He's got to defend the belt. If he loses this fight, and we'll be talking about it throughout, whether this thing goes 30 seconds or 25 minutes, if Sean Strickland can pull this thing off, it will just shake up the entire division. Because if Sean Strickland loses this fight, he's out, right? He's not in the discussion anymore, right? Then you just got Dricus, Hamza, and Imavov. But if Sean Strickland can win this fight, then you got 4 guys, because you're going to have du Plessis, who's going to want a rematch. You're going to have Hamza, who feels like he's deserving. You're going to have Imavov, who just finished Israel Adesanya, one of the greats. You know, and it might turn out that there's a lot that's got to go down in this division, but it may turn out that Adesanya hasn't fallen off that much. Maybe you got 5 fighters in this division. I don't know, but we're going to find out a lot tonight, really, from Sean Strickland. And we've seen the belt change hands a lot in this division. We saw Pereira get the belt and Adesanya get it back. Then eventually Strickland took it from Adesanya. Then du Plessis took it from Strickland. Now Strickland's trying. I mean, it keeps changing hands. So the champions have had a lot of difficulty in defending the belt. It's real simple. Dricus comes in. He looks very confident, as you would expect. And I am so glad to get this fight over with. I'm just so glad to get this over with. Let's get it done. Sean Strickland repping the bald head as always, but this time the mustache. So he's looking a little different. So both fighters still in the prime. Sean Strickland 33, right? You know, you'll wake up and be 37 real quick. The time is now for Sean Strickland. Du Plessis smack in the middle at 31. And that's a setup for this fight. Both guys 6'1", both guys equal reach. Du Plessis a switch stance fighter. Sean Strickland stands at right-handed. And I should be rooting for the American, right? I should be rooting for Sean Strickland. But as I told you in the first fight, du Plessis is going to land takedowns. It's going to happen again in this fight. I don't know if he lands 6. And if he didn't land 6 in the first fight, he loses. So I don't, we could be in for another very close fight. Let's go now. Let's get it, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ooh-wee. It's time. Yes, sir. 5 rounds. Undisputed. Middleweight title. Get in the chat room. Let me know what you think. Who's winning this showdown? That's the question. Sean Strickland pacing back and forth. He's 29-6, the former champ. Basically is, in recent history, lost to Alex Pereira, a GOAT, and now Dricus du Plessis. And see, my fear is that Sean Strickland wins this fight, and then du Plessis is going to be calling for an immediate rematch, especially if it's close. But if Sean Strickland puts him away, there will be no rematch. It looks like both guys are calling out Hamza, but I have a feeling if Strickland wins, he'll be calling out Imavov. He don't want to fight Hamza. So I got to root for Dricus because I think he's true to his word. He wants to fight the best. Dricus 22-2, just ridiculous. Defending. Ooh-wee. Let's go. Oh my goodness. I hear you, Bruce. I'm losing my voice a little bit too, man. Don't feel bad. Here we go. Both fighters walk to the center of the octagon. This thing is about to be on, so let's tune it up. Here we go. UFC 312 main event, middleweight division. A year later, the rematch. Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. And we are here until this fight finishes. John Anik said the Super Bowl's tonight. Yes, sir. Yeah, baby. Yo, y'all, let's go. Okay, here we go. Fight is underway. And the crowd is on its feet. And are we in for a long night? I think if Sean Strickland wins, it's going to be probably a long night, right? I mean, we've seen him finish people before, but if he wins, it's probably a long night. Could be a long night if du Plessis wins too. But we know du Plessis can finish a fight for sure. And how quickly will Dricus shoot? Sean Strickland famous after the last fight, or before the last fight, saying, let's agree to a stand-up strike and a fair. And du Plessis would have none of it with the 6 takedowns. And you're facing a kickboxer in Sean Strickland. He's going to stay on those heels. He's going to continue moving forward. He's going to drive the leg up. Oh, big leg kick by Dricus. Dang. And another. And gosh, it's got to be weird to fight Sean Strickland. Like, he just takes it, but he keeps coming forward. Sean's really working the jab well here. Really not utilizing the leg kick. He just feinted with it a second ago, but really landing the jab. And he must have seen something from the last fight. And the thing is, we've seen Sean Strickland taken down 6 times by Dricus. Do you really think he's going to stop Hamza from taking him down? His best bet would be to land a quick KO, if possible. Don't see that happening. But I think Hamza wastes no time going in for the takedown. There's not going to be all this going on. Dricus should be shooting in for a takedown as soon as possible. Spinning back kick missed. And Dricus looks a little off guard here early in the fight as he opens up with a big left-right combo, though. Now a leg kick. But Sean Strickland seems unfazed at all times. He just continues coming forward. And if anything, Dricus is landing out of frustration, not because it's, part of the norm. Let's go, fellas. Someone do something here. It's hard to believe. No takedown attempts yet for Dricus. I mean, that's how you won the last fight. Do you really want to stand and strike with Sean Strickland? Spinning back kick lands. I mean, it's still close, but you know Sean is going to start to pull away. Because the difference is Dricus can throw too. But Sean Strickland is a master at keeping his opponent off balance. That's why people will say teep, teep, jab, jab, all this stuff. But the bottom line is it works because the opponent is off balanced. I mean, whatever their numbers are, they're coming way down. Same is the case for guys like John Jones, Israel Adesanya in his prime, and others. Plessis just seems off balance here. Doesn't seem comfortable with this at all. But he's going toe-to-toe with Sean, and he's leading. Head strikes are even. Significant strikes, 16-12. And depending on how this fight goes, as we've seen in a lot of other championship fights, it may come down to round one. And who knows how the judges will score it. Because you get 2 rounds one way, 2 rounds the other, and then when you're trying to figure out the winner, it's going to go back to the first round. Now here comes Dricus with a left-right combo. But when he lands, he's really reaching out, like he's off balanced. And, good round for both guys, I guess. Not great. But yeah, I'd have to agree with Daniel Cormier. I think du Plessis probably got that round, but it's close. 9-8 head strikes, 17-14 significant strikes. But it's still very, very close. And I'm hungry for a finish, man. I'm hungry for a finish. One of these two guys got to go down. Sean's just a hard guy to finish. If your name is not Alex Pereira. Think about it. Sean pacing back and forth pretty much near the middle of the octagon. Staring down Dricus. So Sean was out of the corner quickly. I mean, he spent no time in the corner barely. 10, 15 seconds, and he's back up, pacing, trying to show Dricus that I got all the energy in the world, baby. I'm here all night. Now he's smiling at Dricus. Dricus smiles back. They touch gloves. Here we go. So a lot of respect here between both fighters. But only one's coming out with the belt. Leg kick by Dricus, another one. And right now he's matching up with Sean. He's standing righty. Remember, he's a switch stance fighter. He can change up his stance. We didn't focus on that in the first round. We'll start to pay more attention here in the second round. Now he switches the lefty back to righty. They both have the same reach, but it appears that Sean Strickland has a longer reach just because of the style. When Dricus comes in, he's like leaping forward just to land a punch, right? And he's got to be careful of that because Sean's the type of guy that can counter really well. Sean Strickland has got to pick up the pace. Remember, he outstruck him big time in the first fight. but lost because of the 6 takedowns. No takedowns yet. Ooh. Come on, y'all. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Give us something. What do they call it? Teep teep? A lot of teep teep going on right now. A lot of jabs and touching. Ooh. Plessis missed on a combination and the counter from Sean. That's what I'm talking about. He's very good at countering. Oh, both guys landing jabs. Starting to pick up a little bit. Plessis with the leg kick. And he's coming in with the jab. Takes a right. Sean will take him, though. Sean will take him and keep coming forward. Like he never stops coming forward. That's just part of that kickboxing style. I'll tell you what, we might see 5 rounds of this. No one close to finishing the other. And then we got to sit and wait and put it in the judges' hands once again. And neither guy, we can't say someone got robbed really as far as right now is concerned because no one's really going for it. I mean, head strike, Sean Strickland's leading 17-16, very close. Significant strikes the other way to Du Plessis, 35-27. And that's because he's landing a lot more leg kicks to the legs, to the body. Judges don't always give you credit for that. And what's Sean thinking? He's not going for takedowns. He's giving me what I wanted. He's going to stand and throw with me. Strickland is not doing enough in terms of activity. There was a fight a few months back where the coach was saying every 5 seconds you got to land something. Every 5 seconds, even if it's a jab, you got to touch. And that's what Dricus has been able to do here. He's doing just enough to keep Sean from being able to get in his stance and move forward. There hasn't been more than 4 seconds where Dricus hasn't thrown something. Nice right by Dricus. But immediate counter by Sean Strickland. God, I just feel like Sean's going to land something eventually, but Dricus is kind of, it's equal almost, but Dricus is slightly outpacing Sean Strickland. It's going to be interesting. I mean, you know, looking at 2 rounds, I would say 1-1, but you couldn't be mad at the judges if they went 2-0 either way. I mean, it's that close. It's that close. So we're in between rounds 2 and 3, both guys getting instructions from the corner. And Sean Strickland's corner trying to motivate him, trying to get him pumped up. More or less what the commentators are saying, what I'm saying. Like, he's got to be more active. He's not very active right now. You know, he's got the fight where he wanted it. He's got the fight on the feet. There's been no takedown attempts. Dricus has given him what he wanted, but he's not going quick enough. I mean, he's on pace right now for what? 80 significant strikes when he had like, what do you have, 150 maybe or more in the first fight? So Sean Strickland is going half the pace. And the fans are saying, let's go. Like they're trying to push the fighters to give him something as well. A leg kick there by Dricus. Sean takes a left and gives a hard blink. Try to gather himself real quick. Dricus, for the most part, staying in a right-handed stance. Switch to lefty momentarily, but right back to right. Everything we're seeing on Twitter saying 2-0 Dricus, I don't know about that. Round 2 was really close. Big right by Dricus. Okay. Somebody finish somebody. Give us some action. There's been a lot of decisions tonight. Long night. If we can get a finish here, it will change everything. Dricus up 6-1 favorite now. That's 3 times as many as what it started at. But I don't know. When you look at head strike, Sean is still right there, 22-21. I mean, Du Plessis up big time, and all from leg strikes. I don't know how much credit the judges give you for that. But if you're Sean, you don't want to be sitting at the end of this fight again saying, I won the fight, but I lost a decision. Like, you can't do that twice. You get away with it once. When you look at the numbers, he had a point. Nice left there by Du Plessis. And that kickboxing style has not worked for Sean Strickland tonight like you would expect. You'd expect to work like it did in the first fight where he'd be very active. And Du Plessis with a second low kick. Sean Strickland touches gloves with him. We're back on. Now Sean opening up a little bit. Du Plessis is throwing enough. I mean, 158 significant strike attempts halfway through the fight. And that's designed and on purpose. Because if you're throwing that much, even if you're not landing, right? He's, spinning back fist by Du Plessis, baby. When you're throwing that much, you're just keeping Sean Strickland off balance. Like, he wants to get into that kickboxing stance, throw some lead leg kicks, march forward. But when he's continually defending and like this, he can't get into that stance that you see causes other fighters problems. Paulo Costa had trouble with it. Israel Adesanya had trouble with it. But Dricus is active enough, and you can see the frustration in Sean Strickland's face for sure. (29-26) Strickland. Head strikes. Ooh. Strickland breaking through there. 1:15 left. Now Dricus responds. Dricus never allows him to get in any rhythm. A spinning back elbow. Lands by the champ. Final minute, round 3. Oh. Both guys connecting there. And the champion seems to be in good shape here in this fight, but, don't count on a decision. Ooh. Oh. Sean Strickland landed now. Be careful, Du Plessis. 20 seconds left in the round. Strickland may be winning this round. Oh, and there's the first takedown. Bing. And where has that been? I mean, this looks way better for Du Plessis. Sean gets out of it pretty quickly, though. Back to the center, 5 seconds left. And, man, another battle on our hands. Another battle. Sean won't sit down. His corner saying, you got 10 minutes. We need everything you got. And they're saying Dricus is predictable. I'd say no, he isn't. I mean, he's constantly throwing stuff. He's making it very difficult. But at the end of the day, Dricus has only landed 30 head strikes. Sean Strickland 37. It's 75 to 51 Dricus in significant strikes. No control time to speak of. I mean, Strickland said, let's have a gentleman's agreement. Let's keep the fight standing. And it didn't happen the first fight. It's happening now. That's why if Dricus can win this thing, he's going to be able to say, I beat you at the fight that you requested. And as these fights go on, you know, both these guys are going to be thinking, man, if I could just get through the 5th round, but then you leave it in the judge's hands, right? I mean, do both guys believe they're winning? Like, if both guys believe they're winning the fight, they become content. But I would argue that you got to tell your fighter, I would almost tell my fighter you're losing, unless I know for sure you're winning. Like, if you're up 3-1 going into the 5th, okay. But if it's 2-2, I'm telling you you're losing. You have to win this round. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's the way both guys got to be fighting right now. Dricus comes in with a big left. And a high leg kick by Dricus. A right to the body. Dricus starting to pick up his aggressiveness here and activity. And there's 2 head strikes. But he's having a very difficult time catching Sean, but there's one. There's a big right. Oh, Sean grabbed his face. He looks like he's in trouble. Oh, boy. Strickland grabbing his nose. Oh, boy. Yep, that's going to be a problem now for Sean. Wow. Oh, my goodness. How much do you want it now, Sean? Dricus caught him. Sean's tough, though. Oh, my goodness. Dricus caught him. And as tough as Sean is, he's got to be feeling that. It's got to be affecting his breathing at this point. And they'll get him cleaned up in between rounds, but he's got 3 minutes left in the round. Yeah, Dricus is trying to finish a fight, but he's got to be careful for sure. And he lands an elbow on the way out. Sean seemed to have weathered the storm, but certainly his nose will be affected the rest of the fight. And we'll hear about that more after the fight, I'm sure. But now he lands a left and a right, and Dricus takes a big deep breath. Is Dricus starting to get tired? We'll see. He lands another big right on Sean. Oh my goodness. With all this, Sean continues to extend his lead in head strikes. Not landing a lot to the body, not landing a lot to the legs, but he is outpacing Dricus in head strikes. Sean peeks up at the clock, 140 left in the round. And Sean Strickland is encountering adversity right here. Can he overcome it? That's what's got to be going through his head right now. It is what it is. Oh, a big right by Sean. And Dricus eats it. And here comes Dricus now with another big right. Sean grabs at that nose once again. Boy, and they got to clean up Sean quick in between rounds. Because once that nose was hit, now Dricus lands a left-right combo. Oh, big right by Dricus. Man. I keep peeking over at the stats, and I just keep seeing Sean Strickland pull away in head strikes. But when you're watching the fight, it doesn't seem like that. I mean, it's crazy. It just seems like Dricus is kind of dominating in all categories, but he's not. There's the tap. And that'll do it. We're heading into round 5. Ooh, wee. Man. Yeah, they got to get Sean cleaned up pretty quickly here. And they will. He'll look like a new man in the 5th round. But Dricus definitely caught him early on in the 4th. And he had to weather the storm the rest of the round. Here it is. Boom. Whoo. Oh, my goodness. And Sean Strickland's tough, man, because I took one of those in football one time. One day when there's no helmets on and we're just doing walkthroughs, and my buddy just came down, boom, right with an elbow on a swim move. And, you know, I'd have been down to a knee at that point. Like, I remember being, yeah. So Sean Strickland took it, and it is what it is. Did not get to hear what they said in the corners. I hope Sean Strickland's corner said, hey, you're losing this fight. Got to get a finish. And if this fight continues this way, who knows what the judges will see, but it just seems like when you're watching it, that Dricus is dominating, little by little each round. But would not be surprised like a 49-46 across the board for DDP. A lot of people on Twitter weighing in saying 4-0. Yeah. That's how it feels. Dricus now switches to lefty. Might be a smart move here in round 5, just keeping Sean Strickland off balance. Keeping an eye on them head strikes. 53-43 for Sean. Again, when you're watching the fight, the perception doesn't seem that way. But I've noticed a lot of times in these decisions, you could be up 30-1 in leg strikes. But if you're down in head strikes, you're going to lose the fight more times than not. So I'm not so sure it's that far of a lead for Dricus, but it should be. Now Sean finally lands a good combination. And immediately Dricus comes right back. I mean, he's thrown 293. Sean Strickland is thrown at 242. So Dricus is just continued with more and more activity over Sean Strickland, just keeping him off balance. And it seemed like at the beginning it was Sean Strickland that would be able to keep Dricus off balance, but it hasn't happened. I mean, it's just Dricus is just too active. And I'm not talking like bop, 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 bop. I'm just talking like bop, bop, bop. And he just can, Sean can never get set, man. And that's why I don't think he has any chance against Hamza. Because Hamza's not going to give you a chance to breathe. In fact, he's going right for the head on the hip. He's taking you down and probably submitting you. And you would think Hamza Could do the same thing to Dricus. The only difference would be is if Dricus can stop the takedowns and he can drag Hamza into rounds 2 and 3, it's going to get real interesting on the feet. Because Hamza is not very familiar with rounds 4 and 5, right? Maybe in training, but not in a real fight setting. So that would be the game plan for Dricus, one we would talk about in the lead up. I believe Dricus is going to win this fight. I think I'm seeing him win the fight. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that I'd want to see Sean Strickland and Hamza trash talk. I mean, that would be great. And the lead up and everything. I think Dricus is going to have a lot of respect for Hamza. It's not going to be quite as much trash talking. Who knows? And we'll have to wait and see how this whole middleweight division shakes out. But I think we're seeing Dricus du Plessis march to victory. I think we're seeing him put away Sean Strickland in terms of any hopes for a title shot anytime soon, and a nice leg kick by Dricus there. Clearly landed. And we're under a minute now. Hard to believe in this fight. I mean, this has been all stand-up. Strickland got exactly what he wanted, and du Plessis just outpaced him. Strickland's still up by 13 head strikes. He's down 125 to 90 in significant strikes. Crowd getting on their feet now. They'd love to see a finish here, but I don't think it's going to happen. Now, du Plessis comes in. Sean Strickland rips his leg out. He was looking for the takedown. He couldn't get it. Final 10 seconds. And a big left there by du Plessis. Sean lands a right. And that's it. And that's it. And both guys touch gloves. They raise each other's hand. But man, what a fight. What a fight. And Dricus is a master mixed martial artist. Because when you fight Sean Strickland, you either do what you did in the last fight with 6 takedowns, right? You either do it that way, or you stand and strike, and you better be throwing a lot and active and keep him off balance. Those are the only 2 ways you beat Sean Strickland. And it can be done, as we're seeing. But du Plessis took the only 2 roads to victory in these 2 fights. And when you look at their makeup, their face after the fight, it's clear who won this fight. So there shouldn't be any controversy here in the judges' scorecards. So it remained the same. I mean, head strikes, all Sean Strickland. He led by 10. Significant and total strikes, all Dricus. And those came on 33 to 19 body strikes and 36 to 3 leg strikes. That's how it went down. Both title fights go into a decision, long night. A lot of decisions tonight. Not what Australia wanted to see. They probably wanted to see 9 finishes instead of 9 decisions, but it didn't go that way. Both fighters coming together, and this should be easy. It's not taking a while. They're not recounting the cards. That tells me it's going to be unanimous. And we have not seen a champion fall yet. Unbelievable. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 50-45, 50-45, 49-46. Wow. Wow. Dominant. Sean Strickland already clapping. Still, Dricus du Plessis in South Africa is going wild once again. And I'm glad he won the fight. 1, because we predicted him to. But 2, I think he holds true to his word that he wants Hamza and he wants to fight him. He's saying going in, Sean Strickland shouldn't have got this fight. It should have been Hamza. And I think he continues with that message. And that's the way this fight turns out. I mean, he just dominated Sean Strickland. So bring on Hamza Chimaev. That's the way it went down. No champions have fallen yet. Neither did Dricus du Plessis. Oh, I thought he said Hamza, but he didn't. But listen, this fight's over here at UFC 312. We appreciate y'all watching. A long night, man. Long night. At least we started the night with a 17-second KO. We started the watch party. It looked like it was going to be quick with uh, a big finish by Talis and Teixeira, and then we had to sit through 10 rounds of title fights where the champions just dominated once again. So we've had no new champions here in 2025. Until next time, this is your boy Chris Cross. Have a great day and God bless as always. Peace.